Hey guys! So this week we are going to talk about wishes. In the past, we have learned how to express when we want something in our lives to be different. So let's look at one example. I don't own a pet, but I'm a real dog person. So I wish I had a dog. We use the expression I wish with a verb, have, in the simple past, which is had. Now, let's talk about wishes in the past. Last week, we talked about how sometimes we want to change something that already happened. Of course, that cannot happen, but we can always dream, right? So, what happens when we want to use the expression I wish about something that happened in the past? Let's look. For example, I went to bed really late last night. Now I'm so tired. So, what do I wish? I wish I had gone to bed early. So we are using I wish and a verb, in this case go, in the past perfect. So the past perfect, as we learned last week, it's formed by using an auxiliary, had, and a past participle. Okay, now we're going to go to the book in page 102. And we're going to compare these two situations. Again, we're talking about wishes in the present and wishes in the past. So let's look at the first situation. We have the little blue box. It says, I live in Boston. It means right now, right? It's the present. I wish I lived in New York. So we have a person and they seem really sad and they're saying, I don't know my neighbors. I'm so lonely. And let's look at the conversation. I wish I knew my neighbors. Why do you say that? If I knew my neighbors, I wouldn't be so lonely. Oh, I know what you mean. Okay, now let's take a look at the second situation. In this case, we are talking about the past. Let's look at the blue box. It says, I lived in Boston. It means they no longer live there. They live in a different city. It says, I wish I had lived in New York. Again, we use wish and the past perfect. Let's look at the picture. We have a lady and she seems confused. She doesn't know where to go. She says, I didn't know how to get around town when I moved here. I was so confused. And now let's look at the dialogue. I wish I had known how to get around town when I moved here. Why do you say that? If I had known how to get around town when I moved here, I wouldn't have been so confused. I know what you mean. Okay, now I'm gonna do the first two exercises and then you can do the rest as the model that I will show you now. The first situation says, I don't drive to work. It means they usually don't drive to work, right? I have to wait for the train every morning. So the dialogue would go like this. I wish I drove to work. Why do you say that? If I drove to work, I wouldn't have to wait for the train every morning. Okay, now let's look at exercise 2. I didn't drive to work today. So that's something that happened this morning, probably, right? I had to wait an hour for the bus. So the conversation would go like this. I wish I had driven to work today. Why do you say that? If I had driven to work today, I wouldn't have had to wait an hour for the bus. Okay, now it's your turn to do the rest of the exercises. Number 3. I don't do daily exercises. I have to go on a diet. I wish I did daily exercises. Why do you say that? If I did daily exercises, I wouldn't have to go on a diet. Number 4. I didn't do my homework last night. I had to do it early this morning. I wish I had done my homework last night. Why do you say that? If I had done my homework last night, I wouldn't have had to do it early this morning. I know what you mean. Number 5. I don't have a good job. I'm concerned about my future. I wish I had a good job. Why do you say that? If I had a good job, I wouldn't be concerned about my future. Number 6. I didn't have a flu shot last fall. I was sick all winter. I wish I had had a flu shot last fall. Why do you say that? If I had had a flu shot last fall, I wouldn't have been so sick all winter. Number 7. I'm not an optimist. I get depressed so often. I wish I were an optimist. Why do you say that? If I were an optimist, I wouldn't get depressed so often. Number 8. I wasn't prepared for my math test. I got a low grade. I wish I had been prepared for my math test. Why do you say that? If I had been prepared for my math test, I wouldn't have gotten a low grade.